Hey, statistics students, today what we are going to do is we're going to learn basic statistical terminology and apply it to word problems. So as we get started in the brand new school year, one thing I want to encourage you as you're watching these videos to take your notes, because you'll be able to use those notes during your assessments, right? So that's the first thing. And then obviously I'm not in the classroom, so it's gonna be a little bit different, right? I'm not gonna be walking around, making sure everyone's getting done around the same time and then I can move on. So I'm not going too fast or too slow. So when you're watching the video, make sure you're pausing at appropriate times when you need to catch up or write something down or whatever that may be. Another important thing as you are doing distance learning, and one thing I want to really encourage you is as you're watching the video, if a question pops up, pause it, write it down, and then when we reconvene after you guys are done watching the video, you can make sure to ask that question. So I think that's an important piece of distance learning as well. All right, you guys, let's begin. So our goal today is I can use basic statistical terminology and apply it to word problems. And the expectation is that you are writing these definitions down, okay? Awesome, let's get going with our first problem. Well, just what is statistics in general? Statistics is the art of science and dealing with data. I've been teaching stats for many years and I have a true passion for it. At first, it's gonna feel a little weird for you because you're gonna be writing a lot and you're gonna think this isn't necessarily math class. But you may not love the class by the end of the year, but I definitely think you're gonna find a great appreciation for it. In my history of teaching, students normally always find a really awesome appreciation for it at the minimum. Statistics, art of science and dealing with data. Individuals, when we're talking about individuals and statistics, that is talking about the objects described by a set of data. So individuals are not always people. Individuals could be apples. If we're looking at a cart of apples and seeing how many are bad apples, right? An individual could be an animal. If we're talking about the methane gas that cows produce, okay? Cows would be the individual. So it's the objects that are described by a set of data. And here I have a little image just to show you, right? Could be people, apple, dogs, a dog breed, that's an individual, okay? Next one, a variable. A variable is any characteristic of an individual, okay? And it changes from object to object, okay? So what is a variable? A variable is something that changes from person to person or object to object, right? So one variable would be your guys' birthday. That might change from person to person. Your hair color, it will change from person to person. Where you live, what college you're interested into. These are all the variables that we could record as statisticians. And we're going to talk a lot about variables in here. So it's not necessarily your X and your Y that you're used to in algebra. It's different in statistics. The way we think about it, at least, okay? Categorical variable. A categorical variable places an individual into one of several groups of categories. For example, okay, what college you're going to, where you live. Now, your age is not a categorical variable, okay? The number of siblings you have in your family is not a categorical variable, okay? But the type of car you might want to drive when you get older, that's a categorical variable. Or the type of job that you'll have or have right now, that's a categorical variable. But guess what? How much money you make at that job is not a categorical variable, okay? So examples of categorical variables that I would write down now just on the side, just so you have a little frame of mind when you go back and you look at your notes. Example, okay? Your type of job, type of car, where you live, okay? Those are all examples of categorical variables. Now we have another variable and it's called a quantitative variable. And those are all the variables I was talking about that I said are not categorical variables, okay? What is a quantitative variable? Your age, your weight, how much money you make. Now, how can I tell the difference between? Well, some people say, well, they're numbers. Numbers are quantitative variables, but guess what? Not all numbers are quantitative variables. For example, if you play a sport and you have a jersey number, that is not a quantitative variable, okay? So not all numbers are quantitative variables. The jersey number that you have, that's actually a categorical variable. You can't average the jerseys. Well, you can. You could add up everyone on the football field's jersey number and average it, but it doesn't make sense. You all have a zip code. That's a categorical variable. It is not a quantitative variable. It would not make sense to add up 55427 plus 55442 and find the average of those. That doesn't make sense, okay? So a quantitative variable is measured or counted data, and a lot of times it has a unit with it, okay? How old are you? I'm 16 years old. How much do you weigh? I weigh a certain amount of pounds. How tall are you? I'm 5 feet 7 inches, okay? A lot of times there's units with those as well. Quantitative variable. Okay, so now what you're gonna do is we did learn some basic statistical terminology today, and now you're gonna join together as your class and you're gonna practice this through the use of an X card to make sure that you understand what you're doing and get help from your teacher. I hope you had a great first day of stats and look forward for more to come. Have a great day, you guys.